Okay, in this video, I'm going to share from experience an opinion on an HR concept, which is like, how do you handle disrespect from staff? And so when it comes to providers, I'm going to define respect in three ways. The first way is speaking kindly and respectfully to you and your staff. Pretty simple. Communicating with courtesy. Number two is being on time. I think time is a really important way that people show you how much respect they really have for you. And number three is keeping commitments, right? So keeping your word. As an example, if I send this provider out and they say they're going to see a patient, do they actually go and see the patient? If this provider tells me they're going to turn in a piece of documentation in, do they actually turn it in within the time that they said they were going to? And so one of the mistakes that I made early on as a leader managing a clinic is that I allowed providers to disrespect my business, right? And so what that basically meant is I allowed us to put rules in place and for them to completely disregard them and without any consequences. And the negative effects of that is that when other providers or other staff see that one provider can always be late, can not show up to meetings, can speak in a sharp or even condescending way sometimes to your staff, what that lets them know is that you're not running the ship, they are, right? And so it starts to create this cancerous mindset within your organization that leadership cannot be trusted, that leadership is not stable, that there's a willingness to negotiate on everything. And so what ends up happening is that when you try to implement new policies and new procedures or new rules, you get a lot more pushback across your company because the thought process is, well, I know if I push back, then maybe something won't happen, or maybe there won't be a conflict. Maybe it'll just be fixed or flexible or ignored, whatever you want to call it. And so I say that as looking back years ago on the mistakes that I made as a leader. And if I had to go back and tell myself something that would have been very, very helpful, it is this. You want to do your best to keep a good relationship with your staff as much as you can. As much as it's within your control, you want to. But the reality is that respect, when you are a leader, respect has to be defined as a form of, I have to consider the consequences of my actions. And so if people don't believe that following your rules has any consequences, if they believe you'll just continue working with them, you'll just continue having them be a part of your company, regardless of their following of your rules, they're not going to respect you, and they shouldn't. You've communicated to them, hey, you don't have to be afraid of any negative consequences. And so in my opinion, respect by definition means concern about the consequences. If you don't have respect for someone, what you're basically saying is, I'm not concerned about consequences for how I engage with you. I don't think anything's going to happen regardless. And you don't want that. That doesn't produce the level of orderliness and the level of focus and consistency you need in an organization to be successful. And so in simple terms, one of the most important things about respect and leadership that I have learned is that people respect somebody who keeps their word. People respect people who keep their word. Even if their word is ridiculous and wrong, they respect people who follow through with what they say they're going to do. And so if you are a leader managing providers, one of the most important attributes you can communicate to your staff, especially early on in that relationship, is that if you say you're going to do something, you do it. If you say you're going to do even small things, if you say you're going to show up, you show up. If you say you're going to be here on time, you're on time. If you say we're going to make this change in the company, we make this change. Because when providers can learn from you that you can be relied upon to do what you say you're going to do, that's going to change how they engage with you, and that's going to change how they receive your communication. Because the reality is, if we want to build a culture, if we want to build an incentive structure in our company where we reward people who do what's good for our company and we remove people who do what's bad, then we actually have to follow through with that. And there's no better way we show providers that we are someone that can be respected than by following through with rules we put in place. And so in conclusion, if I had to speak to a younger me, starting off managing people in the office and in the field, the number one rule I give myself is, Ian, if you say you're going to do something, if you say that this is the rule, you follow through with that no matter what. It will pay dividends in the future, and it will gain an entirely new energy in your company that's going to make it so much easier to run your business. And so we want to stay on good terms with people, but at the end of the day, our jobs as a leader is to make sure our business succeeds. Whether or not our staff necessarily like us all the time, we have to be successful. You can't be successful if you're, as a leader, if your team doesn't show respect for you. And if you want your team to show respect for you, you have to show them you're someone that should be respected.